Thank you for listening to this PodcastOne Sportsnet production, available on Apple Podcasts and PodcastOne.
This episode of the Steve Austin Show is sponsored in part by DDP Yoga. Hey man, working hundreds of matches over the years, it's no surprise that my buddy Diamond Dallas Page's body has taken its share of bumps and bruises. And hey man, he knows all about the wear and tear because he did it for a long ass time. The ring will kick your ass. And his DDP Yoga fitness system was specifically designed to burn fat, reduce pain, and heal from injuries. Dallas has been doing the DDPY program for years, and it makes sense to me because of all the factors that are involved with it. DDPY is a kick-ass cardio workout. It will dramatically increase your flexibility. It will strengthen your core like never before, all with minimal joint impact. You can download the DDP Yoga Now app to have Dallas with you on the go. The DDP Yoga Now app has everything you need. It'll track your weight, all your workouts, how many calories burned, and Dallas himself sets you up for weekly success by giving you an easy schedule to follow that includes his tips for success. Hey, take it from Dallas. The dude made a living beating up his body and invented a workout system to heal his body. He's somewhat of an expert, in my opinion. If you're more old school and prefer DVDs over the DDPY app, they have the DVDs. But when you buy the DVDs, you still receive 3 months free on the DDPY app to try it out. Bring yourself out of the caveman days into this new-ass technology. And just for listeners of the Steve Austin Show, you can save 20% off on an annual membership for the DDP Yoga Now app of any DVD pack. Just go to ddpyoga.com/Austin to get started. So what are you doing? Stop wasting time and download the DDP Yoga Now app. And make this year the year you get serious about your health and get fit. Let DDP Yoga Now help you set your goals, take control, and own your life.
The following program is a PodcastOne.com production. From Hollywood, California, by way of the Broken Skull Ranch, this is the Steve Austin Show.
Give me a hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Now, here's Steve Austin.
Hello, and welcome to the Steve Austin Show. This is Steve's producer, Sean. Steve will be off this week, so we'll be bringing you some of the finest conversations Steve has had over the years here on the Steve Austin Show. This episode will be focusing on wrestling. Particularly, we'll hear from the bad guy, Scott Hall, ECW legend Tommy Dreamer, and the Nature Boy himself, Ric Flair. We'll get to that in just a moment, but before we do that, let's tell you about how to keep your home safe with ADT. ADT is the first security company to help keep you safe at home and when you're on the go. And it starts with their award-winning 24/7 monitoring that has made them the #1 most trusted security company. Visit ADT.com/podcast and get an ADT starter kit professionally installed for only $49. Plus, you'll get ADT Go, the new family mobile safety app and service with family locator and 24/7 emergency response, free with any ADT security system. In addition to the locator and the 24/7 emergency response, ADT Go includes private messaging, automatic check-ins, and safe driving reports. Again, go to ADT.com/podcast to learn more. Requires 36-month monitoring contract, QSP, and Easy Pay. Activation and early termination. Fees may apply. Certain markets excluded. Licenses available at ADT.com. This offer ends April 1st.
Many of you listening to this are in your car right now. But do you love your car? If not, we want to help. I'm Todd.
I'm Paul, and we host the Everyday Driver Car Debate podcast.
We help listeners just like you find cars that are fun to drive and still fit their budgets and their needs.
Along the way, we discuss car news, we tell stories from filming cars for our TV and web shows, and we also answer audience questions from you.
So join us every Tuesday and Friday for the Everyday Driver Car Debate.
This is the Steve Austin Show.
Going back to your conversation with JJ and him kind of taking you under his wing a little bit and showing you how to work holds.
Right.
You've always been a very sarcastic guy. Your sarcasm is one of your strong points with respect to how funny you are. Did you have that same sarcasm back in the old days, and how was it taken? Because sometimes if a guy doesn't know you, you're this big, imposing, good-looking guy, kind of disrespectful. Did people get that out of you? Did you rub people the wrong way?
Probably. I mean, I think I just kind of bumbled through so many opportunities just being a big redneck.
Right.
And not having any people skills or not realizing that people don't know I'm joking.
When did you start putting the people skills together and getting, hey, man, this is work, and you got to get along with people. Okay, maybe not. Never.
Right now. I'm working on it now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just realized that for me, dealing with people, everybody is who they are, and you have to accept the good qualities and the bad qualities.
Right.
You know, like you can't just isolate qualities, and I can't isolate them in myself.
Yeah.
So I just have to give myself a break and give the same break to other people.
Right.
You know, I mean, I always looked at it like there's some guys that I'm going to travel with and hang with and go to the gym with. They're my buds, my boys. There's other guys like, then I'm wrestling this other guy every night. So that's a whole different relationship. Like we ain't going to have dinner together. We're not going to go out and drink together. But, you know, as long as you're clicking in the ring and you see that guy, you see him in the locker room, it's like, hey, what's up, man? There's that certain bond you have with guys, you know. So I always looked at it like that. Like, you know, I always say the same thing. It ain't show friends, it's show business.
Right.
You know, I'm just as soon get along with everybody, but all that ultimately matters, all I really concerned myself with was what the guy I wrestled thought, what the guy who pays me thinks, and what the people who bought tickets think.
At this stage in your career, and we're coming up to WCW, but now as you're coming up in the business, what is your education process as far as learning how and what you need to be paid? Barry Windham, your friend who took you.
Oh, I remember looking at that check.
He left.
That's the one he left on. I'm going, whoa.
Okay.
It was like $7,000. And I went, whoa.
Okay, so when
this
did
is
you start?
80s.
Yeah.
$7,000 on road trips.
Right. So when did you start learning about that process? Because these days I'll always tell kids, you know, because back in the day, you know, I started learning what the houses were, where I was on the card, putting all the pieces together. Right. And you came in, you know, when you guys left, and we're going to get to that. That's when the big money era. That's when the big money era happened. Right. So when did you start putting the pieces together as far as pay?
I guess I remember I was first drawn to wrestling because I just liked the lifestyle. I just thought it was so cool that you get to do this, and you know you got your days free to work out. You work at night. It's kind of cool. People put you over. You're on TV.
Plus, it's the coolest job in the world.
It is the best job in the world. And so I was always drawn to that. Then don't get me wrong. Then I just wanted to be Dusty. I just wanted to be Barry Windham. I just wanted to be over in Florida so maybe I could meet chicks. You know, now.
And that's as far as it went. You know,
I had no idea. I just wanted to be over in my hometown. And then, you know, don't get me wrong. I was all about it going global and everything and being huge. And I remember the first time I got a doll, I thought, heck, I can retire. Like I made it.
Right.
And I never really was concerned about money. If it was being paid, I remember leaving, I was shooting vignettes with Vince for the Razor character, and he left TV and personally directed him in South Beach. I mean, and I know this is good, but I know from being around Kurt to be humble, bumble as could be.
Right.
I'm just being humble, bumble. But then when I hit that Kurt and I'm doing my thing, and then when I come back through, I'm not doing, was that okay? Like Kurt said, when you come through, you come straight to me. Don't ask people, was that okay? Was that okay? Yeah. He goes, come straight to me. Walk through like you knew it was okay. If somebody says, hey, good, say thank you, but come straight to me. Like, don't be walking around going, you know.
Yeah, because you're questioning. Yeah, you're losing that alpha.
Yeah, just boom. And I remember, like, it started raining, as it will do down that part of the country. And so we go through the airport, and we're in the car on the way to the airport, and Vince is loving the gimmick because he's never seen Scarface.
Right.
And I'm just ripping off Scarface. And Vince is laughing. He's loving it. And he tells me to, like, speak really slowly. He goes, there's a difference between commanding attention and demanding attention. Like, he's really involved with the development of this character, which is great for me.
Right.
And now we're on the way to the airport, and he's laughing. He goes, you're going to make a lot of money. And my first thought, having been around a little bit, is, would you put that in writing?
Yeah.
But I said, thanks, Vince. I said, I don't have to have the most. I just want a lot. And he popped. And he goes, you're going to get it. And I'm thinking, things are good. Things are good. I mean, I realized there was a time when I would look at the houses and the way business was going. Now, I was there, and you were there for the tail end of, you know, all through the steroid trial, which was sapping resources from Vince, you know, through the IcoPro era, through the WBF.
Yep.
Now, who's the backbone of all this stuff?
You guys were weathering that storm.
Guys on the road.
Yeah.
So houses were coming up, and business is dead. That steroid scandal hurt business.
Right.
I was actually being prepped as a witness for Vince by Jerry McDevitt for the steroid scandal because I was more successful off the roids.
Right.
They were going to call me for it. They never did, but I was prepped for it.
Right.
And it's just...
That conversation with Vince is incredible that he would say that to you.
Yeah,
Because, dude, that a light goes off in your head one time we were filming a vignette, and it was when I first started becoming Stone Cold. And it was myself and Vince in a Jeep Grand Cherokee Limited. We're waiting at a gate. It's just a pipe gate with a chain on it, waiting for someone to unlock it. I'm going to throw a belt off something or do something. So we're sitting there. It's Vince and me. It's uncomfortable silence because we don't really know each other, dude. I've been working there 7-8 months, but, he's the boss, I'm the dude. And I'm not really, over yet. So, out of the blue, he just says, Steve, as a promoter, you never want a talent to know what they're worth. And he just said that out of the dead silence. And I was like, bam. Okay, it's not just with wrestling, Scott. I mean, it's in life. You want to pay someone as little as you can pay them to get any job done. But when he said that to me with respect to the business, I okay, now I got to learn how to work the system.
And he doesn't say things by accident.
No, but that being said, that conversation he had with you, just that exchange, because he was so caught up in the character, and he said, "Oh, you're going to make a lot of money out of the blue," and then you jumped on that and says, "Well, as long as it's a lot." And it's almost, it's like a rib on the square.
Yeah.
And it's that come to Jesus meeting. A lot of guys miss that boat. I want to come back to the pitch of that character to Vince, but I got to talk about the run with the Diamond Stud in WCW because you were kind of on your ass at this point.
I've been successful in Japan and in Europe, but not in the U.S. where it matters.
Right.
And
why did going back to AWA? I mean, just Big Scott Hall, Magnum, or Cowboy. Right. Why didn't that catch on? Because you were taking the Hogan spot.
Yeah, but the thing is too, I'll never forget that encounter with the Freebirds when they went, man, we're out of here. This territory's dying.
Right.
And I was real aware that everything was coming my way, and I wasn't ready for that shove.
Right.
And they were going to put the belt on me, and I remember thinking, I don't want to be captain of this sinking ship.
Interesting.
I remember they were going around the horn in back when a battle royal drew. Back when just having a battle royal on the card drew in that AWA territory. Yeah. They would take it around. They would bring in guys for it.
Yeah.
And the stipulation was whoever won the battle royal faced Bockwinkel for the title bout next time in that town.
Yeah.
So we're going to these towns, and I know I'm leaving. I've given my notice to Vern.
Right.
I remember giving my notice to Vern. Back then it was 2 weeks' notice. I went and gave my notice, and he was like, nobody leaves me. Nobody leaves on top. And I remember saying, it's too cold here. I said, this is your hometown. I said, I can make $2,000 a week selling suntan lotion on the beach. I said, and he goes, I can make you a star. And I remember thinking, I don't have to be on TV to feel good about me. I like me. And from that moment, we had to start having a conversation like man to man.
Right.
And he looks at me and he goes, I'm rich. And I said, I know. How's it feel? He goes, it feels great. I said, I want to be rich too. I said, it's too cold here. No, this.
Right.
And I knew that although I felt Vern was really captivated by characters like Mad Dog Vachon and all that, he always pushed those and like Baron von Raschke, but he never had any hand in creating them.
Right.
He loved gimmicks, but he was so vanilla. Everybody was so vanilla in AWA at that time. It was brutal. And I still had my roots in Florida with that coming up on Dusty and Barry and Blackjack Mulligan. And
that's what
Dick
you really
Slater.
identified with?
I like that Southern style babyface where you told a story and it meant something and, there was backstory and stuff, not just trading holds in the ring. I liked it to mean something more. So I gave my notice because what happened was Lex left Florida to take the spot in Charlotte. Now Florida needs a top babyface. I'm unhappy in Minneapolis. Mike Graham calls me, offers me a guarantee. I said I'm there.
Right.
And went.
What was the look on Vern's face, or what was your read on him when all of a sudden he didn't feel like he had you under his thumb?
Well, I mean, it was really cool because he started talking to me man to man.
Right.
And I said, I want to be.
That's why he knew you weren't a mark.
Well, because
shit.
Yeah, I'm not a mark about it. I don't need to be pushed. I'll do jobs on the way out. Whatever you need. Like I remember being in towns and they go, well, Hall's going over to Battle Royal. I said, I'm going to Bachman and go, don't put me over, Nick, because I'm not going to be here next time you come back. Because everybody thinks I'm just negotiating or something like that to squeeze Vern.
Right.
I wasn't.
I was a big Nick Bockwinkel fan. Were you?
Yeah, but you ever been around Nick much?
No, he
would come around with his Elvis glasses on. Yeah. Now, hey, I like Nick, but he will walk around with his streets, his socks on, and underwear on.
Yeah.
And you'd be sitting there like putting your boots on. And Nick comes up like, hey, kid, like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, hey, kid, balls in your face. Like, oh, talk about my boy. Hey, I want to talk about your matches. Like, what?
In the ring, though.
I thought he was great. I remember when I look back on the way they handled me in the AWA, knowing more now than I did then, and they put me with Greg Gagne and Kurt Hennig, top baby faces they had there, and they're doing everything to take care of me.
Right.
So I just have to pin the guy.
Okay.
And they put me out there with Ray Stevens, Nick Bockwing, and Larry Zbyszko. In like Comiskey Park at some big show. And all I have to do is listen. You know, it's all, they're all bumping around for me. And
I was working with Ray Stevens because to this day I've still not seen hardly any of his work, but I always heard that he was just one of the greatest.
I met Ray towards
ahead of his time?
I think what him and Pat Patterson were doing in San Francisco and stuff in the 60s was groundbreaking.
Right.
You know, it's something that, and I think Kurt was really influenced by hanging around Pat Patterson because I attribute Kurt with being one of the first guys, although it was probably Pat and Ray, who Whirly's World bumped as a heel for the reaction.
Right.
Instead of just, a lot of heels back in the day just crumbled down and got juice.
Right. Yeah.
And I think Flair was in that thing. I often blame Flair for the state of my spine because Flair, in our era, came along with that flat back and bump.
Yeah.
Remember the spot? He'd push the ref would push him, he'd flat back.
Yeah.
I think when you condition your audience that your top guy is performing that way, if you go on second or third and you're just rotting down,
right,
it doesn't work.
Right.
So it became an attack the mat era when we were coming around.
Yeah, and then that's the kind of style that
Get it again.
So you go down to Florida, but you end up kind of on your ass. You need something, or Dallas is in dire straits.
Well, now I go to Florida, and now the territories come together. Memphis, Watts territory, Nashville.
Watts was doing some good shit.
Nashville.
Yeah.
They all try to put this super company together to go against Vince.
That's how.
And so I don't fit. You know, there's no spot for me. So, and the thing is, none of those guys could agree on anything because they all wanted their guy being featured. So it fell apart. A good idea, but didn't work. But meanwhile, Hiro Matsuda, who from the beginning, I had no idea was connected with Florida Championship Wrestling. He knows I'm there. He knows that my deal's in jeopardy now. And being an honorable guy hooks me up with New Japan.
Right.
And he sends me there as his boy. So my first tour is 5 weeks, get most money I've made at that point. And they keep bringing me back. And
what did you think about the Japan style of wrestling? Because you're a guy who loves angles, storylines.
I remember being in Kurikan Hall.
To an end.
They brought me to, I just left Minneapolis. Masa Saito had just gotten out of prison in Wisconsin for the incident with Ken Patera at the McDonald's. And so he came to Japan, and they brought me in as his tag partner, which was a huge push for me. I don't even know it. But he was he was one of the few guys who made it in the U.S. and in Japan.
Yes.
And he goes back there, and they got pictures of him in handcuffs. And people are like, "Whoa, he's a criminal," because at that time in Japan, it was like a prize fight. They cheered for both guys. They didn't understand, like, why would you use the rope? Right. None of that heat worked with them. And I remember being in the ring in Kurikan Hall, and I'm standing there, I'm so nervous, and and they go, "Scott Hola," and I'm standing there, and he walks by, "That's you," and I went, "Oh." Like, I remember, but I'm still thinking of what Kurt had told me. I'm going, "Oh God, I'm going to Japan. I need the crash course." He goes, "Work strong." He goes, "If they put you in any goofy leg holds, go to the rope. They like that kind of stuff." They do. Oh.
That's how smart Kurt is.
And so I remember one time the guy had me down, this guy Kimura had me down on my belly and my legs wrapped up around me, and I'm going like this, and I reached back and busted him wide open. And then now, I come back, I'm in the locker room with Masa, I'm going, "Oh, please tell him I'm so sorry." He goes, "Don't worry, office likes it." So then I was so green and stiff that I started getting a rep as, "He don't care."
Right.
And over there, the Japanese are kind of marks for that. "Whoa, this is a big one, works strong, good." So, I'm potatoing guys, and the office is liking it.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to guys later going, "Hey, I'll buy you a beer, I'm sorry."
Yeah.
But it worked.
Okay, Diamond Stud era, what happens?
Okay, now I've had success in Japan and Europe, but I figure the guys who started with me, guys like Shawn Michaels and stuff, they're all in New York, and I'm not. And I'm looking in the mirror, and I'm thinking I have what it takes, but I'm being realistic enough to go, well, I must not, because I haven't made it. So I want the other riches in life. I want to be married. I want to have kids. I don't care, a little apartment, something. I'm thinking I'll work at Sears, maybe learn how to work a forklift. I'm not dumb. I could be trained. You know, that'd be a steady job. I'm thinking like that.
Yeah.
And I had one more commitment to make in Europe for Otto for 7 months. So I begged this girl to marry me. We go over there and we're trying to have a baby because I'm coming back and I'm going to start a real job.
Boy, you committed to that.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. And the thing is, now,
nobody has an exit strategy in this business, Scott, and you've got one way back.
Well, I'm thinking, you know what? I'm not going to be one of them guys who, if I'm not going to be a big star, then I'm really not interested in being in this.
Okay.
You know, I mean, like, okay, if I don't have it, then I don't have it.
Right.
And so I remember coming back now, though, the reality's setting in. We come back to America. She's 7 months pregnant with Cody, who's now 24.
Yeah.
So this is way back, and it's like, oh my God, and I don't have insurance or anything like that. I'm working as a bouncer, and I'm going, oh my God. So I called Dally, and if you know Dallas, he's relentless in his work ethic, and he was managing the Freebirds at that time, the new Freebirds when it was Jimmy Garvin and Michael Hayes. And I said, man, you're too big to manage the Freebirds, man. And he goes, no, man, you know Dallas, he's always thought about it. No, man, I stand with my legs spread on the interview so I don't look as tall. And I said, you need someone to stand next to you, make you look small. I said, you need a diamond stud. And he goes, whoa, bro. So he's off on a tangent. He relentlessly hounds Dusty about it, and I get a tryout.
So that was your idea, the diamond stud?
No, he had talked about making me and Al Perez the diamond studs back in Florida, way back in the day.
So the seed was planted.
He had mentioned that to me, and I just brought it back up to him.
As a single.
So then he would call me at 3 a.m, bro. And I got a pregnant old lady. Yeah. Bro, no one's had black hair in wrestling since honky. Everybody's got blonde hair. You got to have black hair. I'm going, oh man, I don't know. So I dye it brown. You know, I got it blonde at the time. Then a couple days later, bro, that mustache got to go. And I'm thinking, you know, like 20 years, like I've had this stash, and it was the 80s, you know, people still wore mustaches. And I'm thinking like, wow, I don't know, you know. And then he goes, bro, you got to go with the stubble, the Rob Lowe stubble. He gave me everything. We were at Waffle. I'm debuting at TV. I've got the black hair. I got the stubble.
It was a great look.
Thank you. And we're working we're at Fayetteville, North Carolina, and this is before catering at TVs.
Yeah.
So we're at a Waffle House. It happens to be at the end of the parking lot. Like, yay. We're in there eating. We're paying the bill, and Dallas grabs a toothpick. She goes, bro, I got it. He's going, I got it. We'll both have toothpicks. So, and I'm so happy to have a job. I've signed a 1-year deal. I don't care. I know I'm good for a year.
Yeah.
I got a pregnant kid, you know, like, and so the thing is, and he had browbeat Dusty to get the Janet Jackson like headphone mic so he could use his hands when he talked.
Yeah.
So we're walking down the aisle. He's talking. We get in the ring. He's talking. His toothpick falls out, and I don't talk. Dallas is talking, but I know enough now. I've been around a few years.
Yeah. I
see the red light on the camera. I went, bing, and after that, you're the guy with the toothpick, and I go, I sure am. You know, like he gave it all to me. And the same thing about Dallas is cut from that same cloth as Kurt. He's not selfish. There's nothing selfish about him. He gave me that gimmick. Now, backtrack to, I get home from TV. There's 3 messages on my voicemail from Pat Patterson. Now, prior to this, I'm asking Kurt, what do I do? He goes, just call the office, ask for Pat. I call Steve, once a week for a year. Every week I call. Can I speak to Pat Patterson, please? Who's calling? This is Scott Hall calling. 1 minute, please. I'm sorry, Pat's in a meeting. Just please tell him Scott Hall called. Thank you very much. Every week.
Straight up.
Every week. What do I got to lose? Right. He's not talking to me anyway.
Right.
I'm just going to ask for a tryout.
Yeah.
So now I get back, and now I got 3 voicemails from Pat. So I'm going, well, ain't this something? So I call Pat. Can I speak to Pat Patterson? 1 moment, please. Hey, kid. Hey, goddamn it. Hey, kid.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I like your strategy.
Right.
The other 500 phone calls.
Right. Yeah. It's like, so he goes, hey, kid, Vince loves the new look. And I'm saying, thank you, Pat. Thank you very much. Well, listen, I'm just going to come right to the point. Did you sign a contract with them sons of bitches? And this is all setting in on me, and I'm going, Pat, and now I feel comfortable because I'm not asking you for anything.
Right.
I go, Pat, I just got done driving from Atlanta back to Orlando. They don't even fly me. I drive from the contract signing. And he goes, I said, Pat, I don't want to work for them. I wouldn't have called your office every week for a year if I did. And he's going, calm down. Pat, calm down, kid. Calm down. Don't worry. You'll be able to tell them in a year New York wants you.
Right.
So a year goes by, no contact from New York. So now I call Kurt and go, bro, I'm done here. They're not doing anything with me here. I said, you know what? If I'm destined to be a job guy in this business, I want to do it for Vince. The lowest paid guy in wrestling makes a pretty good living.
Right.
I remember saying to him, give me Barry Horowitz a spot, because Barry Horowitz had a baseball card.
Right.
Because I figure if I'm going to do jobs for a living, I'll do them, and I want to do it at the best place around.
All right, let's take a quick pause for the calls and get big ups to TrueCar. Now, if you're looking to buy a car, you're probably familiar with terms like MSRP. You might even know what it stands for. But what does it actually mean? The same goes for invoice, list price, and dealer price. Hey, it's enough to confuse anybody. All you're really looking for is a price that actually means something. Introducing True Price from TrueCar. Now you can know exactly what you'll pay for the car you want, including fees and accessories, before you even get to the dealership. TrueCar dealers will show you the true price on cars like the one you want, all from the comfort of home. And how do you know if your true price is a great price? Because TrueCar shows you what other people paid for the same car you want. And your certified dealers know this, so they set their true price competitively so they can win your business. So when you're ready to buy a new or used car, visit TrueCar to enjoy a more confident car buying experience. Some features not available in all states. Hey, you're also going to need car insurance for that new vehicle. Go to geico.com, and in 15 minutes, you could be saving 15% or more on car insurance. That's right. Save hundreds of dollars on car insurance at geico.com. Extra money in your pocket? It may just be the most rewarding thing you do today.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lauren Sanchez.
And I'm Susie Schuster. Get ready, because each week Lauren and I are going to be talking about the biggest stories in sports on our new podcast, Locker Room Talk.
You've never heard a sports show like this one before. We're going to cover what is happening in the sports world with a flair that only women can bring.
Yeah, this is what we call real Locker Room Talk. Don't forget to download each new episode every Thursday.
You can listen to Locker Room Talk for free exclusively on Apple Podcast at PodcastOne.com and on the Podcast One app. If you love the show, share it with a friend. And, of course, leave us a rating and a review.
Oh, you'll love it.
The Steve Austin Show. The Steve Austin Show.
Okay, let's talk about hardcore and the fact that it's all about really hard work, dedication, commitment, and doing things right as best you can. So you were the innovator of violence. Mm-hmm. How did the innovator of violence, and then I'll segue into my question, but tell me how the innovator of violence came to be.
At the time, everyone had a moniker. You were Stone Cold. You were the Rattlesnake. Everyone had a nickname. I creatively thought of ways to introduce weapons into the match, like tie a frying pan to my foot and give a guy an enziguri. I did a lot of...
That's great.
I was the first person to use a camera in the match. And back to, this was last week, talking about, Paul being in bed with WWE. And I remember it was a finish of a show, and I had the cameraman get up. I took the camera, I hit the guy with it. Boom, pinned him 1, 2, 3. The very next night, they used it with Shawn and Sid and switched the title. And I remember going to Shawn, I remember going to Sid and asking them, and they were like, Vince just came in and changed it. And I remember when I saw that, I was with Paulie, and he's like, they have stooges everywhere. I was like, motherfucker, like later, it was you.
But did you come up with the slogan? Did
yes,
Joey Styles?
No.
Okay, so
I came up with the Innovator of Violence. I actually dropped the Innovator of Violence after Chris Benoit.
Right.
Because I was working in the office, I was getting so many calls to go on CNN and because about wrestling and violence. So I kind of dropped it.
Yeah.
But it was during the time when everybody had a nickname.
But now are you back to it?
No. I use it if the announcer says it. If not, it was cool for a shirt. I rarely ever sign stuff, Innovator of Violence.
Right.
People specifically ask me for it, and I'm kind of like,
Yeah.
I don't think wrestling is about violence. I think I have done violent stuff. Recently just went back to TNA where I promised violence. I try to make that special. It's almost like, I left, but now they're dragging me back in. So it was a cool moniker.
Okay, so that leads me to where I wanted to go now. You were the innovator of violence. So now Tommy Dreamer goes to have a match on House of Hardcore, a wrestling match. What's this going to consist of? Now, are you still doing your old shenanigans, or is it more scientific?
Ooh, I've never been the scientific type. I will. Let me explain. We were talking about TNA. You know, I helped do some business for them at my house. It's my third ever show. I have Bubba Ray come in and attack me, which is going to help. TNA is going to do
recently.
Yes, TNA is going to then go do a pay-per-view there. And we did a big angle after my match. Bubba came in unexpected, unannounced, unadvertised. That's another thing I do for my show too, because I missed that element. I have brought guys in, not advertised them, didn't make a dime off their name. You never know what the hell can happen.
Yep.
So here comes Bubba. He lays out Funk. He lays out Sandman. He lays out Spike Dudley.
Great.
He lays me out. He makes the open challenge to me there. TNA's last event they had, I tripled their attendance in the Mid-Hudson Civic Center. And me and Bubba, it was, again, a throwback in time. We're going at it. And to say it got violent and it got crazy, at 42 years old, we would do a spot. I climb up. He nut shots me. He's going to superplex me. He's going to superplex me on the steel guardrail. So we have the guardrail set. I'm 265. He's 280 now, in great shape. Because I'm an idiot, I decide for the first time in my life, I'm going to stand on the top rope. I'm not going to do just go off. Yeah. I decide to stand on the top rope and get a superplex onto a steel guardrail. And when I hit that, I said, I'm every bit 42 years old. I tasted steel in my mouth. And after my match, I had to quickly go home because I did not want them to see that I was slowly bending over.
Right.
The next day, I could not walk. And the hardest part about me, and I said this last week, in my head at times, I'm still 23 years old, but the recoup time.
Are you starting to realize, you dumb son of a bitch, that you are 42, 43? What are you, 43 or 40?
43.
You're 43 years old. Are you finally starting to get a little bit of a heads up? What's it gonna
Sometimes. I know I don't look that good, but I do train hard to look this bad. It's quite sad. I met a guy.
What's your workout routine?
I wake up every morning. I do an hour cardio.
Right.
I have this thing I met on Twitter. The guy's name is Dr. Roland Bartholomew. He has low back tracks. I take it everywhere. I wake up in the morning, and some mornings I look like Terry Funk, or I got the shit in my pants walk, and I'm totally bent over. I lay on my back. I use this thing, and I'm fine. A couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, I injured my back wrestling, doing a sky high, and I felt the pain up my hip. I flew home, could barely walk. I used this machine 5 times in the course of a day. The next morning I was doing cardio. Joey Styles, I gave it to him. He was looking at back surgery. No more. He didn't need it. It has totally helped my body. It's not a gimmick.
What gadget is it?
No, it's you lay on your back and you use your own. It opens up the disc in between your back.
Right.
And it looks like bicycle handlebars, and you just push.
Right.
And it feels great.
Okay, but talk about the injuries. You had a broken neck, but you never got it fixed.
Yep. I've never had a surgery.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yep. I think me.
But you are progressively feeling worse.
Yeah. No, I'm not. I feel.
I feel progressively great. Feeling. You're a lying mother.
I wish.
Oh, come on, dude.
I wish you could watch. I'm slower.
You feel right now like you did when you got in the business.
No, of course not.
Exactly
but I feel when I'm wrestling, I feel
and
no pain.
the get up like a bent up old man thing, and then you go lay on your back gimmick.
Yeah, but
okay.
I broke my neck.
But you got to know. I always like to talk to people that are 5, 10, 15 years older than me, because I always see, I had a pretty physical style like you,
right.
but I'm just a snapback bumper type. But every 5, 10, 15-year increment, where are those guys at, how they're feeling? You're going to feel progressively worse the way you keep doing it.
Well, yes. That's
so what is the structure of a Tommy Dreamer match these days? Is it more stand-up brawling?
No. It's I always old school will never die. I usually do a little bit of wrestling, and then I have the bad guy usually cheat.
Yep.
Then that makes me have to go back to my Tommy Dreamer ways. I'll do there's usually a chair involved, and at House of Hardcore shows.
You ever get a bunch of concussions from chairs?
I've had tons of them.
Now, are you a hands up guy or are you a hands down guy?
Remember, originally ECW, if you put your hands up for a chair shot, you would consider a pussy.
All right.
Who are the bigger marks than ever?
God damn it. You know, they're just going to come back and get you at some point.
At times, that's the only thing. Actually, I have a few regrets.
Okay, talk about it, man. You're a father now.
My one regret is at times my memory. I can remember anything about wrestling, anything. But like before, I don't know what year I got married. You asked me that. I would have to call my wife and say, what year did we get married? Or my wife will say, you already asked me that. And I'm like, really? Or the other day I came home from wrestling and I pulled my bags out. I went, it was about 3:00 in the morning, got home. And next morning my wife comes up, are you okay? I said, yeah. She goes, did you get hit in your head or anything? I said, no, why? And like when she first, comes into your room and says, can I talk to you? First you're like, oh God, what did I do now? Like, am I in trouble? And she said, well, I went outside to throw out the garbage and you left your trunk open and it rained. And she goes, why didn't you close your trunk? I said, I can't tell you that. I don't know why. Or I've left the refrigerator door open and now I have an alarm on my refrigerator door that goes off if it's open.
Yeah, you'll get one of those too.
And that scares me. Or even with my daughters, how was school, blah, blah, blah. And then I'll ask them something. Like, Daddy, you already asked me that. But that's on one scale.
Right.
On the other scale, my grandmother, she just passed away. She's 98 years old.
Long genetic.
She wouldn't remember a lot of stuff either. Never took a bump in her life. My mom.
Well, she's 98.
Okay. But it's going to happen to all of us.
Yeah,
my
mom. 43.
My mother, 73.
Right. Okay. Good memory?
Great memory.
Okay.
I'll talk to her on Monday. She might tell me the same story on Tuesday. And,
yeah, but that's mom's.
Okay, but it's gonna. That's like just saying, "Hey, Steve, that's."
No, you're 43.
Okay,
you can't pull that shit over here.
Trust me, it could happen.
We're sitting here overlooking the Broadway Theater in New York City, and you're full of shit.
I'm not full of shit. I do think I probably had anywhere from 13 to 16 concussions. I remember one time getting knocked out 3 times in a week. I got knocked out on a Friday, got my bell rung on a Saturday, and the following Saturday in the ECW arena, we had this big-ass match. Everyone was all crowded up. Leave me alone. I need air. I go outside. 3 hours later, I wake up. I'm still bandaged, still in my thing, and I'm at a Wawa drinking killer shakes that we'd always used to go to.
What's a Wawa?
Wawa is like a 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
And the girl, we'd always stop there, and the girl was like, Tommy, were you in a car accident? My head was all, bloody. For 3 hours of my life, I disappeared. I checked my cell phone. Everyone was looking for me. I don't know where I went in Philadelphia, but I was unconscious for 3 hours of my life, driving around Philadelphia. Shit like that does scare me now. Back then, we didn't think about that. I see so much. My goal is to change the wrestling business, but change it better for the wrestler in the sense of, again, dude, I used to drink human blood. I used to drink Raven's blood and spit it out in the crowd. The best part about WWE, their wellness program. You could go out there and you don't know that you're wrestling this guy who has hepatitis.
Right.
That's great. The fact that, hey, you and I, how many friends have we buried because of pain pills and drug addiction? The business has changed that way, and it's good. It's sad. Like, I'll go out there and see guys doing drugs nowadays, and I'll be like, are you guys kidding me? From what haven't you learned? It will affect you. I watched my best friend Test, who's the biggest, strongest dude, and I used to pull food out of his mouth or be like, I could push him down without even like batting an eye because he was all messed up, and he died. And I think about him every day. And the business is progressing in that there's also guys out there that wrestle because they have to and not because I wrestle because I want to. I wrestle because I love it. I don't wrestle because I have to. There's guys who have to go out there and do it. There's guys who need surgeries that can't get surgeries.
What do you think it is about the boys that so many of our friends have left this world too soon? More so than rock stars, than football players and pro athletes, than anybody. Your take on why that is? And before you say that, I fired down a call to Test. I heard he was kind of messed up, and I called him, and he swore to me up and down. He goes, Steve, I'm in a good place. He goes, man, I'm not on anything. I'm doing good. And, you know, it sounded a little bit off, but he was swearing. So what I'm going to do, call him a liar on the phone. He's down in Florida. But anyway, after Brian Pillman left us, you know, anytime I would find out there's something wrong with one of the guys and maybe he was kind of having some issues, I would finally, I would reach out because I felt it was my duty to at least, you know, try to do something. And so anyway, turns out not too much longer, and then he was gone. So back to my question. Why in the and I've been there, dude, because, man, I ran with the drinking crowd. I did my share of pain pills, somas, and gimmicks, but I never got hooked on them.
Right.
This, that, and whatever, blow, here, there. You know, but sometimes I think to myself as I talk to one of my good friends who went down the same road I did, and sometimes I think, you know what, you know, I've been pretty lucky, you know, because I could have been a guy. So what's your take on this whole thing? Why have so many of our guys gone?
Well, one, they really are in pain. Two, they had to go out there and perform, and then you get hooked. Right. I remember, you know, Test really broke his neck. Test would sit in that car like, man, I'm in so much pain. And you get hooked on them because you don't. I could tell you, I have smoked pot twice in my life. Right. I've taken, after ECW One Night Stand 2005, where the doctor prescribed to me and told me that I was going to lose my ear, I took half a Vicodin and I threw up in the WWE office.
You wasn't a pill guy.
I've never done any other drug. That's it.
Right.
It's not me. But again, like I said, because I had, you know.
You're a very rare individual. And don't get me wrong, Lance Storm is just like you. Lance, teetotaler, Jerry Lawler, teetotaler. Your deal, your vice.
Right.
Women, great. But there's so many guys. I mean, yeah, I get the pain aspect because, like many of the guys, I have extremely high threshold of pain.
Right.
So by the time you get some Vicodins or some perks or whatever, it's like you don't really take it because you're in pain. You don't mind the pain. Actually, you know, for me, it's like, okay, take a couple to kind of kick out and feel a little up.
Yeah.
You know?
It's funny. I'm great friends with Matt Hardy and Carlito, and they've talked about, you know, doing drugs and all that stuff. And I was just with Matt Hardy, and he'd be like, I could totally tell when someone's messed up because I've been there.
Right.
And Matt has turned his life around. The grind gets to you too. I know Carlito, you know, he straight up said, I wasn't happy. You know, you're self-medicating to just try to get through. This is all of our dreams, and if it doesn't pan out the way you are, no one, you know, for a lot of guys got to understand this, the business isn't based purely on your talent. There's some really talented guys out there. It's based upon one or two people's opinion of you. That's it. That's it. You could be the most talent. You know who your talent matters? To the fans. And they're the ones that let you know you're the star. To get through a lot of that, guys would self-medicate, or guys would do that stuff. I think also, you know, we're talking about guys wrestling past their prime or still living that lifestyle. From your generation, there's a little gap. We're about the same age, but there's a little bit of a gap.
Yeah.
There was more territories, and it was, you know, back in the day, you didn't like what a promoter said. Oh, go screw you. You know,
right.
I'll go work here. I'll go work there. Now it's still the mentality of I've got another run in me, and you don't. This is a younger man's business. They can call you back, or you can contribute in other ways. But, you know, you can't think, you know, oh, the business is going to change, or let me try to get the most money out of this guy, you know, the money mark, or, you know, I'll take advantage of this guy the best I can. I'll latch myself onto him, and then when it's gone, it's all dried up. But guess what? There's another guy around that corner that could do that. I think that's why a lot of guys think that way.
But let me ask you a question. Every now and then someone will leave, and you'll always hear the patented, God dang it, when is Vince McMahon going to do something about this?
Yeah.
It ain't on his shoulders.
No.
I look at anything and everything that I've ever done, and I'm the motherfucker that owns up to it, is responsible for it, and has to be held accountable for it. Ain't nobody telling me to do nothing that I ain't going to do unless I want to do. So my point is, you know, it ain't nobody's fault.
Nope.
Whatever you choose to do for yourself. As a man, you got to be, if it leads to your demise or leads to your success, you got to be the one that says, hey, I'm responsible for this, and be held accountable for it.
And there's also guys who I feel that they think they're above the business or they're deserved more, and then they get that bitterness.
Right.
And the business will move on without you. It has with every top star has left, and whether they come back or whether they never do, but the business continues to move forward.
Hey, it's Rob Riggle.
And Sarah Tiana.
And you are listening to Riggle's Picks.
Yeah, and a ham horn, and we have a new podcast. You can find our show exclusively on the PodcastOne app, on PodcastOneSports.com, and don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts.
Every Thursday, we're going to sit around and we're going to talk about the things that really excite us, like life, comedy, sports, a lot of sports.
Ourselves.
A lot of Sarah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Kim Jong-un.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's going to be a lot of fun. I hope you join us.
Well, who was influential in your style? Because one of the things that I always loved about your work was you knew when a high spot was needed or transition. You knew when there needed to be movement in the match, and that's what always made you exciting. You know, whether it was, you know, the backdrop out of the corner, a backdrop, or running down the flip over, running down the apron into something else, or a chop off the top.
Yeah.
You knew when to put things in motion. So was Ray Stevens one of those innovators? And what helped you develop your style?
I started with Ray Stevens, Bockwinkel, Murdoch, Dusty. I started with some phenomenal Harley Race, you know. And Ray had the most influence on me with the flip and all that. And I learned that from Ray. And then the slam off the top, you know, which people made fun of for years. I got that from Harley. And, you know, I just picked up a little bit from everybody. Murdoch was a phenomenal performer.
Yeah.
You know, who could make you laugh or cry or make you mad. I mean, Dick was really good. And Harley, you know, I can't say enough about Harley. Harley was Harley Race. Even he was believable, but Harley could do high spots or he could, you know, hold you down. And then, of course, I really liked Terry's. I wasn't crazy about Dory's work. Dory was a lot like Valentine. Dory liked to hold you down,
right,
lean on you, get you tired, and he'd blow you up, you know, slammy, headlock slam, grab it again, you know, with Dory. Dory lean on you, so, you know, 100 degrees in Orlando, Florida, and Dory Funk is leaning on you, telling you to fight out of it. Forget it, Dory.
Was it a rib, or was he shooting with you?
That's the way he worked. He spent a lot of time in the business with Valentine.
Yeah.
You know, and it was, you know, at that time, you remember, people don't realize that I wrestled Bobo Brazil for an hour.
Yeah.
What does that tell you about where I've been?
How hard was that?
That was really hard. It was a lot harder than wrestling Rufus Arjun.
Hey, Rick, when did you ever feel like, did you ever think you were going to the well too many times? With the backdrop out of the corner or the slam off the top or just that trademark, you had just took an ass whooping and do the face plant. Because I know Ole was not a big fan of that.
Yeah, I don't think I ever felt like I was going to the well too much because it's hard for somebody that wasn't in my shoes to understand how hard it is to work with the same people or in the same, you know, and perform against the same guy.
Understood.
You know, kind of like I said last night, when you and I and Brian and you and Brian and Arn and I wrestled, we hadn't been in the ring 25 or 30 times. We just walked into the Norfolk Scope and talked for 15 minutes and went out and wrestled for 35 or 40 minutes. I mean, you know, and you know, familiarity in the ring with someone was so important. But you know, I just every time something got old, I'd improvise. You know, the funniest thing of all, I got that falling on my face from Valentine. The old man did that.
Really?
He didn't walk and do it. He just fell over like a big oak tree. I stole a lot of stuff. I'm not gonna lie.
What else did you borrow? And it's not there's nothing new anymore, and there hasn't been anything new for quite some time. But what else did you borrow? You said to slam off the top from Harley.
I got the chop. I was talking to Terry Funk tonight on his birthday. Terry just had his 70th birthday. I was telling this story. He was the world champion in '76. I was watching him wrestle Paul Jones, who was a major air player in the Mid-Atlantic area then, for an hour in Raleigh. And Jones had Terry's arm, an arm bar, and Terry Funk started chopping him across the chest to get out of it. Next day, man, I was chopping.
Was anybody chopping up till that point?
Nobody was. No, well, Wahoo, of course, but Wahoo was the overhand chop, not the backhand.
Right.
You know?
Did you ever get a bunch of guys complain, piss, and moan about those chops? Because you always had, and I was telling you about your physique last night, you had the perfect bump taking physique, height, weight, your build, you had enough mass on you. But you have those big meaty hands. But you were pretty much a gentle chopper because you made contact and noise, but it didn't kill you like the Pillman chop or the Danny Davis chop.
You just hit him on the top of the chest. It makes all the noise.
Right.
You know, it's funny because the two guys that hated him the most, one of them had the best chest in the world to chop was the Undertaker, of course, right?
Yeah.
He got that 4-mile radius. But he'd say, I'm going to take 4, and that's it. Make him good. And Brett just hated him. Oh, God, he begged me.
What did he not like about the chop?
They don't like you. Some guys don't like the sting, you know. And thank God they didn't have to work in Wahoo. Good Lord.
I remember.
He would kill you. And Ronnie Garvin. Good
Man
Lord.
with the hands of stone. Yeah, his chop looked like they hurt because there's a lot of times there's guys, their chests were bleeding.
I was born on my chest 24/7 wrestling Ronnie Garvin. Oh, he would beat. If people thought I was beating him up, Ronnie beat me half to death.
I was working with Flying Brian. They split us up down there as the Hollywood Blondes, and Brian liked that overhand chop, and it hurt like hell. And we were working a program. We were down there in Jacksonville, Florida. Man, we were having a hell of a damn match. And, man, he was hitting me with those chops. You know, I have a high threshold of pain, Rick, as you do, as a lot of us do. But enough of those chops is just enough of those chops. I kind of started turning just a frog's hair. And he hated that. So after the match, he came up to me and he said, hey, listen, you know, Brian was very upfront. He was a great communicator. He goes, hey, listen, Steve.
No, you think?
Yeah, he would tell me, go, Steve, man, if you're going to turn on those chops, then I just need to stop doing them because they look like shit. And so I was like, you know, what do you do? I was like, okay, Brian, I won't turn. So from then on, I took them straight ahead. But they got on your nerves after a little bit. But see, here's the thing. When you talk about the Undertaker taking your chops, here's how old school the Undertaker was. Even though the chop was not in his arsenal, if you were going to chop him, many times he was going to give you the 4 back that he took. Am I right?
Oh, yeah. You know, but the thing was, is I would say, you know, don't sell it, of course. Just let me hit you.
Yeah.
I didn't ask him to go to a knee.
Yeah.
That would be absurd.
Hey, what else did you? Okay, you got that. What else did you borrow from somebody? Where did the woo come from?
I got the knee drop from Harley.
The knee drop. Oh, man, that was picture perfect. And Harley dropped a tremendous knee, as did you, Ray.
That's pretty much it. I mean, you know, knee drop from Harley, the chop from Terry Funk, the upside down bump from Ray, but I could never do it nearly as good as he did. And then the rest of it, falling on my face from Johnny Valentine. I didn't start doing that till I was really desperate to make the fans say something, you know.
What about
I'll tell you a great story that a lot of people don't know, but I tell this. You know, I was wrestling Rufus R. Jones in Hutchinson, Kansas. This is how vivid, how I can remember this. In front of like 200 people, and Buck Robley was the booker, right?
Yeah.
So a guy named Sonny Myers was the referee, an old-timer from that era, right? And so the match was so bad. It was an hour long, 200 people, if that, right? It was so bad. How many freight trains and headbutts can you take, right?
Yeah.
So I had him down, and I was kicking him, and I said, Sonny, you know, pull me off him. And Sonny Myers looked at me and said, I can't touch you. I said, Sonny, I'm the goddamn world champion. Pull me off him. So when he pulled me off him, I pushed him. and I said, now push you back. He said, I can't. I said, push me back. And I pushed him really hard. He pushed me back. The biggest pop of the night, hence push the referee spot. So I came out of the ring, and Buck Robley said, man, you're the world champion. That's cheap heat. I said, Buck, you go out and wrestle Rufus for an hour in front of 200 people. Let me know how that works for you, by the way.
Yeah. Was that the first time that you'd known of the push with the referee doing it? And
that's
of course,
that's the first time I did it. But then, you know, I took that worldwide.
Yeah.
Tommy Young was the best.
Oh, y'all had such good chemistry together.
Yeah, then I started doing that to figure 4, be selling my leg and take a bump out. Then I started taking a bump on it, which really rocked.
Where did the figure 4 come from?
I got that from Jack Briscoe. I didn't get it from Rogers. I got it from Jack, but I asked him if I could use it.
See that? There's a fine line there.
I don't know why. It's so funny because it never worked for me. It worked for Jack and it worked for Rogers, but never for me.
Hey, why? Who invented the part of the figure 4? Because you're the guy that used it for so long, and you borrowed it from Jack.
Who invented it?
No. Who was the guy that said when you turn the figure 4 over, that it reverses the pressure to the giver than the receiver that had it on the
George Scott taught me that.
George Scott.
Of course.
That totally defies all logic, Rick, but people bought into it 150%.
Nobody can turn it over in real life. I have put that thing on linebackers in the NFL, man, in bars. They can't get out of it if they let me put it on them.
Right.
No, I mean, no, let me clarify that statement. If they let me push their leg above their knee and put it on them, nobody gets out of that. I don't care how tough they think they are. But they have to let me put it on, which I have a couple of guys, and they wish they hadn't, because you can hurt a guy with that. If you get that ankle above the knee,
right?
You get that thing locked in, good luck with that.
All right, next time I see you, I want you to put me in a figure 4 just to put a little bit of pressure on my knee. I want to see how that thing's supposed to feel for a shoot.
Man, Steve, it'll kill you.
But tell me, okay, so what did George Scott, who was booking the territory, right? Where's this?
When I came to Charlotte, he was the booker.
Okay, so he said, okay,
a year ago, that's really sad. He was a great guy.
So he's the one that told you, hey, Rick, how about, if you got the figure 4, when you turn it over?
He's the one that, he was there when I crashed an airplane. He's the one that gave me the idea to do the robes.
Yep.
Introduced me to Olivia Walker and by changing my style around and, not copying it, copying Dusty and Billy Graham at the time. And he's responsible for a lot of what I had going on in my career.
When you said you were copying Superstar and Dusty with regards to promo, because I don't see you emulating their work style.
The scarf like Graham did, because I broke into Minneapolis where Billy was, and then I was wearing the tie-dye T-shirts, and I wanted to be Ramblin' Ricky Rhodes.
That was your idea?
Yeah, Gagne shot that down. Are you crazy?
That may have been the best move Vern Gagne ever made. And you've got to be very thankful that he shot it down.
Ramblin' Ricky Rhodes. I was such a mark for Dusty. It was unbelievable. But I don't think I'm the only one. He was so gifted on the microphone. It was unreal.
So then what was your take on the microphone? Because you're one of the best promo guys of all time. What was your take on a promo? Just basically shoot with it?
Go out and wing it. I still have a tough time when they write it down for me, because if I don't feel it, it's hard to say it,
Right.
And I understand the importance now of bullet points and, the day of the pay-per-view and all that, but it's just such a better way to do it, in my opinion, if you have the ability to do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And let's face it, no one told you what to do. No one told me what to do until I went up there the second time. And even then we agreed to disagree. But, don't think Ed Koski was there every night going, please don't screw this up. Go ahead, I promise. So it was all good. It just, times have changed.
When it came to blading, Rick, not to go into the art or the details and all that, but you're a guy who wore the blade on the finger. I always liked mine on my left wrist.
Art Nielsen taught me that in Roanoke, Virginia.
Okay, I was always a guy, like, if it's going to get some color in a big pay-per-view or whatever, man, I'd carry my blade on my left wrist. I'd carry it back up on my right wrist, and I might give if it was super important, I'd give the referee a third. How did Art Nielsen break your system down for you? Because I remember the night before I walked out on the WWF, it was going to be Atlanta TV taping, and you and I were working in a steel cage in Columbus, Georgia, and you got color that night, and you was wearing that blade. So I got a couple of scratch marks.
And I got a lot of heat the next day.
You did?
You weren't coming.
I thought I was working. I thought I was working with Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah. Then I had to. Of course, I cut you a couple times, right?
Yeah, it was an accident. Yeah, it was funny though. I was like a kid in a candy stop.
When I don't do it all the time.
Yeah.
I used to make them so big that if I don't keep the shield on it, and the shield's hard to keep on it.
Right.
And I'm sure I used to nick Garvin too, but he deserved it, not you.
Did you tape it to your pointing finger?
Yeah, you know what? I've taped my fingers for years, both hands.
Yes.
And I keep it on my index finger, yeah.
So why did Art Nilsson
the
teach you
finger
this
next to it,
style? Out of all the different styles, why did this one?
It's just the way a guy taught me one night, 1974, and a guy named Art Nilsson. You know, they wanted me, and I had no idea what they were talking about. They said, you know, they want you to, you know, and the guy goes to me, "You're going to learn in this business, kid. Red is green." And I was little Pete Pasta, little Roanoke, Virginia, 300 people, and I said, "No problem, man. Just show me how to do it." The rest is history. I've been making them for guys for 40 years.
What is your technique to making them? I always took one of the old school razors that you would
No,
put.
I got to have a Johnson, the old Johnson pack of white, and they come in a white cardboard box.
The rectangular kind that you would put in an old school shaver. It's got a single edge on each side.
Exactly. And what I do, I break it in half, and then I take a scissors and cut it quarters.
Right.
And I got to have a quarter off the right side where the blade is coming towards me.
Well, the way I like to make mine was do the same thing. I'd take that same blade, turn it longwise, cut it once down the middle, and then I'd take one of the edges, and then I'd go with, at an angle to get my point, and then I would adjust the length by trimming off the back side. Then I would get my athletic tape, stick it through the athletic tape, and kind of make a depth gauge. And there I would make my pull tab, and I'd tape my wrist and then put it on top of that.
I got to be superstitious. I had to have Johnson & Johnson. If I didn't have Johnson tape, I was superstitious.
Really?
Yeah, I just always, but I would chase it down if I had to. You get little superstition things about yourself in the business.
Well, what am I doing?
I had to have the Gillette blades, and I had to have the Johnson tape.
Well, I was a guy that when I was getting dressed, I always had to put my right boot on first. If I didn't put that right boot on first and lace it up, it was going to be, well, I mean, it never happened. That was the way my system must go down. And then I'd start taping the left wrist.
We all experience stuff like that, little things we do.
What other habits did you have then?
Well, I used to hand my phone to a referee like all the time and say, make sure no chicks are calling me in case something happens.
Hey, what was the story?
And I'd say to Charles, by the way, if I die, just throw my phone in the garbage can.
Hey, what was the story that brings up a memory?
Now that I'm not married, I can tell those stories.
I didn't know infidelity was a part of your resume.
Now I know how Tiger felt on the 18th hole when he was leading by one and he had 30 chicks calling him on the cell phone. I don't know how he did it.
Hey, what was the story, Rick? I think it was one of the times, obviously, when you were world champion. I guess you had left the belt behind somewhere or left it in your briefcase.
No, God, I can't tell that.
Oh, you can't? Okay.
Yeah, I can. Okay.
What happened?
I was in Houston, and shocker, wrestling in Sam Houston Coliseum with WCW, and I went out with Wyndham and I don't even know. I'll leave the other participants out, and somehow I got. I lost contact with the person that had my luggage, who had my belt. And somehow, one of the stooges called Jim Hurd. I had to be in Birmingham the next day at TV. So Hurd called and said, I heard you lost the belt. I said, absolutely not. So after about $5,000 in private eyes and everything, I walked into Birmingham with the belt the next day, but it was nip and tuck. I may have had a 24-hour window. I can't remember, but it was Friday till Monday. I had 48 hours to find it. But Houston, it can be rough on you there in the old days.
Oh, of course it could.
Gillies, are you kidding?
Were you a guy that always carried the belt on the plane with him? Because sometimes...
Always. I never checked it. No, I had the Halliburton, and, that's one of the things that you just didn't do. I thought it was cool because I heard the company carries the belts to the guys now, which is, carrying that damn thing around.
A pain in the ass.
The A belt was like a religion. And, of course, WCW, the belt weighed so damn much. The bigger belt, which the company uses now, probably weighs 25, 30 pounds,
But I always thought it was a pain in the ass. I was always trying to get through the airport as low key as possible. So then when you pull out the belt out of your luggage, and of course, all the TSA people want to hold it up. Oh man, look at this! And so then here comes all the attention.
FYI, it's going to be a few guys, you and I being two of them, maybe 10 other, that are never just going to ease through an airport. I got news for you. If social media now, you and I, we can't ease anywhere.
This is the Steve Austin Show.
Join us Thursday for more of the best of the Steve Austin Show. In the meantime, check out ProWrestlingTees.com/Steve Austin for all the shirts Steve has worn on the Broken Skull Challenge. Also, check out Broken Skull IPA at the El Segundo Brewing Company. If you're in California, you can get it at Whole Foods and Total Wines. If not, check InsideTheCellar.com and see if they ship to your state. You can check out all of Steve's sponsors at PodcastOne.com. Just go to the Killer Deals button at the top of the page and then click on the Steve Austin Show banner. Thanks again for listening. We'll catch you on Thursday.
This has been a Podcast One production. Download new episodes of The Steve Austin Show every Tuesday at PodcastOne.com. That's PodcastOne.com.